اینجا شهر ویکتوریا مرکز ایالت بریتیش کلمبیا در کانادا است. ده تن از شهروندان دادخواهی افغانستان به مناسبت 40م شهدای مرکز آموزشی کاج دور هم جمع شدند تا با شعار استاپ هزاره جنوساید از کانادایی ها و دولت کانادا بخواهد در زمینه جلوگیری از نسل کشی هزاره ها اقدام کند. آنان با در دست داشتن شعارهای استاپ هزاره جنوساید و عکس‌های از شهدای مرکز آموزشی کاج در مقابل پارلمان ایالتی تجمع کردند. در ویدیو هم دیده می شود که زنان، مردان، کودکان و حتی شماری از شهروندان خارجی نیز همصدا با شهروندان افغانستان شعار استاپ هزاره جنوساید سر دادند. یک تن از مردان کانادایی شرکت کننده در این برنامه سخنرانی هم پیرامون جنوساید هزاره ها داشته است که در ادامه برای شما نشر خواهد شد در لابلای این برنامه که پوشش میدیم. امیدوار هستم که تا پایان با ما همراه باشید.
So I will give some more info. I don't know if you can hear me all right? Okay. So I'm going to give you a general information about why we are gathering. So we are the members of Hazara community, which is an ethnic group in Afghanistan, and we have been prosecuted for over 130 years. We are here to commemorate the 59 lives of Hazara students who were taken on the September 30th of this year and wounded around over 100 students. And I should mention that this is not the first attack, unfortunately. In fact, the same education center was attacked in 2018, which killed the students, over 100 students. And the idea was the same because they were preparing to take the university entrance exam, which would lead them to go to university. And because of the current situation, we know that's not an option for them. But they were not killed because they were students. They were killed because they were students, and most importantly, because they were Hazara. And the attack took place at the Dashti, which is in Kabul, west of Kabul, which is a Hazara-dominated group area. So we are also here to remember the victims and the survivors of Hazara genocide, who are here with us, and some of us are not here with us because of the genocide that happened. And we are also here to remember the number of Hazara people who have been displaced both internally and externally because of this genocide. And we are also here to remember the 15 Hazara refugees who committed suicide in Indonesia because of what's happening and because of the lives that they have there and the lack of access to education, to basic human rights. So as you listen to the rest of the program, I want you to think about every Hazara lives that have been taken simply because they were Hazara and simply because they were in Afghanistan and because they were killed for who they are and they were not accepted. And I wish it was a part of history. It's not, sadly. It still happens today as we are gathering today. And I also like to draw your attention to the pictures that are here. These are the victims that have been killed on September 30th. So I will pass the mic to Sahar, who is the MC for today. And thank you so much for coming.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Hello and good afternoon, everyone. I would like to welcome and appreciate your presence here today to stand in solidarity with Hazaras in Afghanistan and say no to all those injustices, discriminations and targeted killings that are happening in Afghanistan and even Pakistan against Hazaras. Hazaras have been the victims of targeted attacks, injustice and brutality in Afghanistan and Pakistan for many, many, many decades. They have been killed in hospitals, wedding halls, public buses, universities, schools, and now even educational centers. On 30th of September 2022, the College Educational Center was the recent target of terrorist attack that happened in Afghanistan against Hazaras, which left 52 people killed, including 45 girls, and 110 students wounded. So yes, today we are here to stand in solidarity with Hazaras in Afghanistan, to show our sympathy with the families of the victims, and to say no to all those brutalities and injustices that are happening in Afghanistan, Pakistan, and other countries that Hazaras are living there.
Now I request all of you to stand and follow the slogans. Stop Hazara genocide.
Hazara genocide.
Stop Hazara genocide.
Stop Hazara genocide.
Recognize Hazara genocide.
Recognize Hazara genocide.
Recognize Hazara genocide.
Recognize Hazara genocide.
Stop Hazara genocide.
Stop Hazara genocide.
What do we want?
Justice. Justice.
What? Stop Hazara genocide.
Stop Hazara genocide.
Stop Hazara genocide.
Stop Hazara genocide.
Recognize Hazara genocide.
Recognize Hazara genocide.
Recognize Hazara genocide.
Recognize Hazara genocide.
Stop Hazara genocide.
Stop Hazara genocide.
Stop Hazara genocide.
Stop Hazara genocide.
At the first part of our today's program, I would like to invite Mrs. Rabia Kayhan to read her poem.
They attack on Kaj Education Center, the same education center that was attacked in 2018. Over 100 Hazara students were killed and so many more wounded in 2018. All of them had dreams. All of them were months away from taking the university entrance exam. You may wonder why an attack on education center does not make sense, right? They were attacked for being Hazara. The attack on Kaj Education Center killed over 60 Hazara students and injured over 100 Hazara students. The attack happened in Dasht west of Kabul, the predominated Hazara neighborhood. Most of the victims were young Hazara girls. In fact, it feels devastating to be killed for being who you are. But what is more devastating that this was not an isolated attack on Hazara people. Hazara genocide has been happening in Afghanistan over 100 years. In fact, 2/3 of the Hazara population was wiped off by King Abdurrahman. There was not a day where Hazara people were not attacked. The attack on Hazara people have been an ongoing issue. The attack on peaceful demonstration, the attack on maternity ward, the attack on passenger vehicles, the attack on Sayyid al-Shuhada High School, the attack on Abdurrahim Shahid High School, the attack on mosques, the attack on wedding halls, the attack on coal miners, the ongoing attack on Hazara people, the attack that a poem cannot capture the full details, but the reason for all of the attacks have been Hazara genocide. In the other words, all of the attack targeted Hazara people, young and old, pregnant women and unborn babies, children, artists, scholars, teachers, and students. All who had dreams of shaping the world. I will remind you again that all of them were Hazara. I remind you again that all of them were Hazara. They were killed for being Hazara. It is important to remember their names and the state of their identity and the reason they were killed and the reason they were killed for. Thank you.
Stop Hazara genocide.
Stop Hazara genocide.
Stop Hazara genocide.
Stop Hazara genocide.
Recognize Hazara genocide.
Recognize Hazara genocide.
Stand with Hazaras.
Stand with Hazaras.
Stand with Hazaras.
Stand with Hazaras.
Stand with humanity.
Stand with humanity.
Stop Hazara genocide.
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 Stand with Hazaras.
Stand with Hazaras.
Stand with Hazaras.
Stand with Hazaras.
Stop Hazara genocide.
Stop Hazara genocide.
Stop Hazara genocide.
Stop Hazara genocide.
What do we want? Justice, justice. What do we want?
Justice, justice.
What do we want?
Justice, justice.
Justice for Hazaras.
Justice, justice.
Stop Hazara genocide.
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 Stand with Hazaras.
Stand with Hazaras.
Stand with humanity.
Stand with humanity.
Stop Hazara genocide.
Stop Hazara genocide.
Recognize Hazara genocide.
Recognize Hazara genocide.
Recognize Hazara genocide.
Recognize Hazara genocide.
Stop 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 Hazara genocide.
خطابی میکنم بر فکر جاهل چرا از خواندن من دل غمین بود چرا از خواندن من دل غمین بود چرایی خصمی دانش کجای دانشی من غیر دین بود کجای دانشی من غیر دین بود نمیدانی که دانایی و خواندن با پیغمبر خطابی اولین بود با پیغمبر خطابی اولین بود
Stop Hazara genocide. Stand with Hazaras. Stop Hazara genocide. Stand with Hazara.
Stop Hazara genocide!
Stop Hazara genocide.
Stop Hazara genocide.
Thanks to Fatima John and to all of you for singing the song. At this part of our program, I would like to invite Mr. Hassin Fatima to represent her speech. Thank you so much, Fatima. Good afternoon, everyone. To introduce myself, I would like to acknowledge the beautiful unceded territory of First Nation, the Bitter where currently I'm studying, living and socializing. And I would like to acknowledge all other territories and especially currently we're standing and sharing the same experience, same knowledge. I would like to acknowledge the land. I would like to acknowledge all our brave soldiers that yesterday was the Remembrance Day of them. They sacrificed their lives just to say no to war. Yes, I do acknowledge the land because we know the importance of the land, how important the land is, that currently we are standing on it. Yes, I know as a Hazara, I know the land acknowledgement because I can understand and I can feel and go through the pain of indigenous people of Canada. I can acknowledge the sympathy. This is not only about the land, but it is about humanity. It is about the land, the culture, the language that have been snatched from them. And as in the same way, Hazara genocide has nothing been less but of being snatched cultures, the freedom. In Afghanistan, the youth has to suffer the most because they are the one who are just trying to acquire knowledge, and their pen and paper have been in blood. They sacrificed their blood to stand here. For what? What did they do to you? They are just innocent kids of class 7. What they did, their role was just to acquire knowledge. They were dreaming to build Afghanistan, which has been in war for 40 years. These 20 years, the youth, like me and you, we were standing and studying to make a better future. We believe in peace. We are gathered here from diverse countries and diverse communities with different diverse cultures. We believe in peace and unity. Peace starts with us, and it makes us force for taking better decisions. Yes, today we are here. The purpose of our today's session is to come together to show this unity. It doesn't matter if today you are from Afghanistan, from India, or from any other countries. Your presence is very important. Always people in interviews ask me that, how can we help Afghanistan? The first and the most is this: you have to recognize Hazara genocide. I would really like to thank you on behalf of all Hazara people for being here today. I would like to thank you for this cold weather, although still you are here. Thanks for coming and witnessing the victims of Hazara people, not only Hazara people, but all of those nation people who have been killed innocently in different wars around the world. We know how war can damage. We know the effects, we know the outcomes, and we are here to say no. No to war. It's enough, we have gone through a lot. We are the ones who have to bring change. And change starts from you. And be with someone who you really think that they are going to also support you. We are here with you. We are nothing but with the unity. Yes, I would like to share. I would like to thank the government of Canada on behalf of 40,000 refugees who came from Afghanistan or who are on the way, and the ones who have been stuck in third countries. They have been willing to get out of Afghanistan last year on 15th of August. Until now, they haven't been able to fly Afghanistan and come out. And why they are coming? They are coming because you see the pictures of martyred people? They are just kids. They did nothing. They are innocent, but they just stand for peace. They just stand for justice. That is the reason that they have been killed. And here we are thanking the government of Canada for trusting us, to believing in us, and for giving us an opportunity, and believing that youths are here for the future leaders, and women of Afghanistan needs to be empowered, because I believe they are the change makers of the future, especially if they're going to be another change to stop this war. There should be women empowerment, and women are the ones who are going to bring change, and the youth. What is important, my sisters and brothers, Afghan community, and also the other countries, other backgrounds, I would also like to tell you and welcome you for peace. I would like to welcome you for unity, that together we can change. Thank you so much for coming. And I would like to also say that there are numerous examples. There are a lot of them, even uncountable incidents and uncountable explosions. Last year, in May 8th, I was a student in Sayyid al-Shahada High School. Approximately 1,600 students we have. Students, especially kids, were preparing to pass final exams or midterm exams, but unfortunately there were 3
human attacks, bomb blast. Not only students were killed who were in class 7, 6, and 8 and high school students, but also there was a tribe. There was families. It's very hard to imagine your kids going to school when you know that there is no guarantee of their transport. That are they going to reach their school? Even they are bomb blasting, targeting schools, malls, sport clubs. This is what we are here for. This is what we are here to call you for action. And today, if you are listening from your news channels, it means you are also part of it. Afghanistan is not the only country being affected. If you are listening it by your ears, if you are listening it causes you mental health problem. You are being concerned and thinking about it. It is also affecting environment. It is affecting economies, not only Afghanistan, but also around the world. My brothers and sisters, let's again be united. Let's again start the change from you. Let's again have many more, and the way that you can help is to invest in education, is to be united. That is what we all believe in future. And again, I'm highly thankful for each and everyone being here today. Jai Afghanistan.
Hazara lives matter. Education's matter. Girls' education's matter.
Girls' education matter.
Hazara lives matter. Stop Hazara genocide. Stand with Hazaras.
Stand with Hazaras.
Stand for education of girls.
Stand with education of girls.
Stand for education of women.
Stand with education of women.
Women rights matter.
Women rights matter.
Hazara lives matter.
Hazara lives matter.
Stand with humanity.
Stand with humanity.
Stand with Hazaras.
Stand with Hazaras.
Stop Hazara genocide.
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 Thank you so much, Ms. Haseen Fatima, for your wonderful speech. Honestly, it's a very, very great pleasure to see youths, and especially girls from Afghanistan, are very, very, very stronger today than 20 years back. I'm very, very happy to see that girls and youths from Afghanistan are here today, and they are representing Afghanistan and Hazaras here in Canada. Thank you so much. At this part of our program, I would like to invite Ms. Zohra Karimi to sing a song for you.
Robert Oppenheimer. I'm a child psychologist and human rights activist. And I just want to start by telling you why I'm here. My father was a child refugee from Nazi Germany. He was born in Cologne, Germany in 1922. And as a child, he was witness to the beginning of the Nazi era and then lived under the Nazis for a number of years. He and his sister and all their relatives who were children were expelled from the schools, and those German Jews who did not succeed in leaving the country, about half of the Jewish population of Germany, were all murdered. In other countries like Ukraine, Poland, Lithuania, Holland, the number of Jews who were murdered was in the 90 to 98%. So one of the reasons that I wanted to speak was to talk about how genocide affects children. Several people who spoke already talked about the fact that this genocide of Hazara, it is nothing to do with what people have done in their lives. And the way you can know that for sure is the murder of children, just for being born who they are. The other parallel I would make with the Holocaust and also, for example, with the Armenian genocide and many others, is that it's very hard for people to understand the seriousness of this. They distance themselves from it. If I look around, there are very few people here today who are not themselves Hazara or Afghan. And we have to change that. I personally find it very sad that whilst a lot of Canadians were concerned about the situation in Afghanistan when the Taliban took over last year, then there was a war in Ukraine. And suddenly the government of Canada is inviting literally millions of white Christian Ukrainians to come to live in Canada with very little of the bureaucratic hoops that those of you who've come from Afghanistan had to go through. I am nothing against Ukrainians. My own family on my mother's side were Ukrainian. But I want to say that we have to push the government. Also, the government of Canada recently decided that whilst they still will allow some Afghan refugees, including Hazaras, to come to Canada, they're not going to pay for it anymore. They are going to depend on local people in different parts of Canada to sponsor them financially. I am personally involved in that activity. Fatima and I are part of a group that is trying to organize for refugees who are Hazara to come to BC. I welcome you to talk to one of us about helping with that. But I also want to go back to the parallels with previous genocides. Turkey has never accepted responsibility for the murder of the Armenians in the First World War. If Hitler had won the Second World War, nobody would know the name Auschwitz. We wouldn't know what happened in the death camps and the concentration camps. Finally, I want to talk briefly about the specific targeting of women and girls. I feel that one of the problems that we have to face is the patriarchal nature of a society where you can tell women and girls, you shouldn't be going out on the street, you shouldn't work, you shouldn't go to school. And that is then saying these half of humanity have no value. And that opens the door to other abuses. I talked to a woman in Vancouver last week who has a number of nieces who fortunately got out of Afghanistan to Pakistan. But before they left Afghanistan, they were being targeted as teenage girls for forced marriage to Taliban members. This is an aspect of what is happening that is particularly sad to me because it reminds me very much of things that happened under the Nazis. The Nazis would take no recognition if they decided that somebody didn't deserve their humanity. They would just literally treat them in an inhuman way and feel it was justified. And I think that the situation of the Hazara historically, which I am only now learning about, it suggests to me that there is a big similarity between the Nazis' attitude to Jews and homosexuals and people who have a different political view to them, and the Taliban and ISIS attitude to the Hazara, which, as was said earlier, it's not something new. It's something that's been going on for over 140 years. So I believe that one of the things we have to do is educate people in Canada about Hazara history. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you, and I hope the next time we have a rally, we will have more Hazara, but also more Canadians who aren't Hazara who come to join us. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
پارا پارا خبر از محبوب ملک هزاره خبر از محبوب ملک هزاره بگو بابا میان و بلخ و غزنه بگو بابا میان و بلخ و غزنه ز تو هستم با تو آیم دوباره ز تو هستم با تو آیم دوباره.
Stand with humanity.
Stand with humanity.
Recognize Hazara genocide. Stop Hazara genocide. Stop Hazara genocide. Stand with Hazaras. Stand with Hazaras. Hazara lives matter. Hazara lives matter. Down with Taliban. Stop Hazara genocide.
Stop Hazara genocide.
Thank you so much, Dr. John, for your beautiful song. And present what we want from the government of Canada to do against Hazara genocide in Afghanistan and Pakistan.
Thank you, Sahajan. Before starting to read the official statement, I would like to again thank each and every one of you for being here in this cold weather. Honestly, I'm shivering right now. So, the official statement of the rally in Victoria, BC, to stop Hazara genocide. The Hazaras comprise one of the major ethnic groups in Afghanistan and are praised for their love and support for education, peace, human rights, women's rights, and democracy. Yet, amid all these, the Hazaras have suffered discrimination, humiliation, and genocide on ethnic and religious grounds. While Hazara's tragic history traces its roots long into account, it marked a human tragedy under King Abdurrahman's reign from 1880 to 1901. The king committed a genocide against the Hazaras, which killed 62% of the Hazara population. It is comparable to the Holocaust and the genocide in Rwanda. The genocide also led to mass displacement, enslavement, and usurpation of 64% of the Hazara land. The Hazara genocide continues with greater magnitude and atrocity. Since 2002, the post-Taliban time, the Hazaras in Afghanistan and Pakistan have suffered over 300 suicide attacks, including attacks on women's and children's hospitals, schools, tutorial institutions, support clubs, and mosques. In the latest attack on a Hazara education center, which was named K+shי, over 60 students were killed and another 130 were wounded. The series of attacks on Hazaras under different governments at different times indicates the systematic, persistent, and organized character of the Hazara genocide. The organized deadly attacks on Hazaras are carried out because of ethnicity, race, and religion. Impartial observers and genocide experts have acknowledged the Hazara genocide already. According to the Article 2 of the Convention on Prevention and Punishment of Genocide, the International Courts for the former Yugoslavia and Rwanda statutes, the International Criminal Court, and the existing jurisprudence in these international courts, the attack on Hazaras count as a genocide. Therefore, the global campaign to protest the Hazara genocide, to condemn and prevent the recurrence of genocide, and to support the victims of genocide and terrorist crimes, expects and demands from the international community, especially the United Nations, the European Union, the International Criminal Court, the United States of America, Government of Canada, and human rights institutions. Number one, the United Nations Security Council should take appropriate, supportive, and urgent measures based on Article 1 of the 1948 Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of Genocide regarding the cessation of genocide of the Hazara in Afghanistan and Pakistan. The United Nations, member states, and human rights organizations to form international observers and fact-finding teams to assess the depth of the atrocities and the continuation of the threats and dispatch them to Afghanistan to ensure the cessation of Hazara genocide. Number three, the United Nations, member states, and human rights institutions to recognize the genocide of Hazaras by referring to the 1948 Convention on the Prevention and Punishment of the Crime of Genocide and the Statute of Import, and protect the Hazaras against this unforgivable crime. Number four, the United Nations Security Council and the prosecutor of the International Criminal Court to refer the Hazara genocide to the ICC based on their jurisdiction, and the court should investigate and deal with it urgently. According to Article 25 of the Statute of ICC, the perpetrators, assistants, and planners of the genocide of the Hazaras investigated and tried before a court of justice. Their trial should happen irrespective of their official status. Number six, the countries which accept refugees and the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees, UNHCR, prioritize the Hazara refugees who had to seek refuge due to the fear of genocide and provide them with dedicated services. Number seven, the United Nations, member states, and international organizations support the victims of genocide and other terrorist attacks and directly supervise the provision of humanitarian aid. Sunday, 13 November 2022, in front of BC Parliament, Victoria, Canada. We are all together to stop Hazara genocide in Afghanistan and Pakistan. Thank you.
Stop Hazara genocide! Stop Hazara genocide! Stand with Hazaras! Recognize Hazara genocide!
Recognize Hazara genocide.
Recognize Hazara genocide!
Recognize Hazara genocide.
Stand with Hazaras! Stand with Hazaras! Stand with humanity! Stand with humanity! Stop Hazara genocide! Stop Hazara genocide! Stop Hazara genocide! Recognize Hazara genocide! Recognize Hazara genocide! Stop Hazara genocide! Stop Hazara genocide! Stand with Hazaras! Stand with humanity!
The genocidal campaign of brutality against Hazaras in Afghanistan can be tracked back to 1891 and 1893, when King Amir Abdurrahman Khan started systematic killings and violence against Hazaras in Afghanistan. Since then, Hazaras are the victims of brutality, injustice, genocide, and targeted killings in Afghanistan and even in Pakistan. Now I would like to conclude this program here today, and I would like to thank every one of you for being here, for your presence, for showing your sympathy, for standing in solidarity with people of Afghanistan, especially Hazaras. Thank you, thank you, thank you.